Thank you so much again, Clemens and Jeanette. I just wanted to start out by doing what we always have to do, which is to thank all of the players in the ecosystems for organizing events like this. I am always very appreciative of being given the chance to come up and speak, whether we are online or physical or hybrid or whatever we are. So I just wanted to give a shout out to Clemens, Matthias, and Jeanette from AI Austria that you guys have now met here, as well as Michael Otter and Alexandra from Advantage Austria. And I also want to mention Navid from Network Development Hub, who connected me to Clemens and created this opportunity. So with that aside, I'd like to start my presentation here. And if I can just get to my screen. Yeah, so as Clemens said in the intro here, I'm giving a speak about AI and business intelligence. So as you guys know, AI is a lot of things and business intelligence is a lot of things as well. So what I'll do in my presentation is I'll try and zoom in on the way that Valuer as a platform applies artificial intelligence to basically narrow down the many business opportunities you may find on the global market as a company looking for new business opportunities. That could be investments, innovations, new partnership opportunities, vendors, etc. So this is the focus I will specifically have in my presentation here. Just a little bit about Valuer. So thank you for the kind words before, Clemens. We founded the company in 2017. A small group of co-founders came together to build essentially what is today an AI-driven search engine that is connecting supply and demand of business opportunities. So the idea is you have so many innovative companies and businesses out there that have so much to offer. You have so many companies and business professionals out there that are looking for these interesting companies. And we wanted to find a magic way of connecting those two parties to make it much more simple and much faster to come together and build brilliant businesses. So we have found a way to use AI to do just that, and we'll take a look at that a bit later on in the presentation here. So we are, as Clemens said, we are quite a large company. We are based around the world, locations in Copenhagen, where I am right now. We have offices in Belgrade and Skopje and London, and we also based out in Singapore for the Southeast Asian market. My title is Chief Growth Officer. I was actually the CEO from the beginning of the company until just a few months back, where we made the decision to get to start looking for a more experienced CEO to lead a larger company like Valuer. I'm focused now on all our business growth opportunities. So looking at all aspects of new customer engagements and driving the platform in the right direction. If you look at the Valuer platform as such, we are currently surveilling more than 600,000 companies. And when I say surveilling, it means we go out and mine and source data on these companies to make sure that we have a lot of semantic data on the company. So we are not that interested in numbers and pie charts and all of those things. We're interested in the semantic side of the companies. So being able to describe what these companies do. So we try and harness and mine as much information as we possibly can on these companies to understand them from a semantic perspective. 21 million data points that we index every day, creating more than 100,000 relationships in between these companies. We are fully agnostic as a platform. So when business professionals come onto the Valuer platform and start looking for interesting companies that they can work with, we give them access to basically every industry, every sector out there. So we are not, as such, as individuals, experts in anything, on the market. We let the AI be the expert of that. So this is just a number of the companies that we have worked with over time. So as you can see, there are quite some big names up here, and this is definitely a testimony to the fact that AI is now being deployed at the big firms to venture into business intelligence more intelligently. And as Clemens said, we listed on the NASDAQ stock exchange last year, which was a new beginning for us in a way. So very, very excited about that. And we are looking forward to the future and all of the successes that we will see. Yeah. So back to the AI and business intelligence perspective. If we think of AI as a tool and kind of rewind time in humanity, I guess, we humans have been deploying tools for a very long time. So AI can be viewed as just another tool, as a new generation tool within business intelligence. So before AI, we have used other things to gather business intelligence from the world. One of the latest big sectors that have been going for this has been, of course, big data and analytics. So AI is a different methodology, and I'll try to see if I can explain what the difference is. But I actually wanted to take a crazy abstract angle on this part about humans deploying tools, because what is it? Why is it in fact that we are using tools as we are? Well, Merleau-Ponty, who is a French philosopher, he argued that the blind man uses his stick to actually perceive, understand, and act with the world around him. So the stick over time actually becomes non-existent, non-apparent for the blind man, because it just becomes an extension of the blind man's body and mind. And I think this is a really interesting perspective on this, and to view it in contrast of AI, because AI is also now being used to basically extend humans' perspective, our understanding about the world, and allow us to navigate within the world at a more secure and fast pace. So this I wanted to take this perspective on that, because it's kind of giving us a good perspective on it. Now, every time when people need to show AI and explain what it is that they do, they always end up in a bit of a problem, because it's really hard to demonstrate. So what I have done here is I've taken forward a video that I'd like to show you, that shows you one of the use cases of the application of AI within the Valuer platform. So I'm just hoping that this is going to play when I press play here. Yeah. So what we are currently seeing on the screen is how we use clustering to gather business intelligence on startups on the Valuer platform. I'm just going to start it again here. So on the screen, we are looking at an unsupervised learning model where we have clustered up companies based on how similar they are to each other. This particular algorithm we use here is called k-means clustering. So each dimension on this cluster is an interpretation of the text in the company descriptions by using an NLP algorithm, which we have trained based on our search methodology. Now, the cluster visualization that we are looking at here is based on 1,000 startups. Their color shows the group that they have been categorized as and belong to, and their position is relative to other startups show how similar they are specifically in their product offering and business model. The cluster also shows the relationship between groups and can identify overall trends within the startup ecosystem. So I'm just going to pause it here as the video will run out before I have completed my explanation. So the process of clustering and positioning the startups in a virtual space is done through the Valuer platform on a multi-dimensional space. And this is very important, and also as a distinction from what you're doing with big data and analytics tools to what you can actually do with AI tools. It's just an example, and the visualization here has been simplified in terms of the number of startups and dimensions shown. It's naturally much more complex within the Valuer platform. So in this particular clustering algorithm, we use distant measures to determine the similarity of or dissimilarity as well between any pair of the data points in the cluster. And a valid distant measure should be symmetric and obtain at minimum value in case of an identical data points. So by computing the distance or dissimilarity between each pair of observations, a dissimilarity or distance matrix is obtained. I'm just going to press start on it again here. Yeah. So in this specific example, and I believe this is actually a cluster of health tech companies and impact companies. We are unveiling patterns on a micro level, meaning what we are seeing here can unveil the individual companies that are similar. And furthermore, the clustering process can unveil patterns on a macro level, highlighting the relationship between groups, which suggest trends within the cluster and which then identify outliers or unknowns that the user wasn't aware of before. So this is again one of the things that are different between big data analytics and AI, because in this case, we can actually use a clustering process and natural language processing to essentially identify stuff that was not even part of the original data set, right? So the point is we use semantic analysis and the semantic search to basically gather more results and more results that are relevant to what the user was looking for. Now, clustering opens up for a multi-dimensional view on data. And if you, for instance, are an innovator and you're working with solving one or more challenges, you may be aware of a bunch of known solutions already that you're looking at, and you want to explore how you can use those solutions to solve the challenges that you have. But what is possible here within this clustering model or clustering algorithm is that we can input data so we can basically shoot data into the cluster from the user that particular user's known data points. And then the cluster will be able to perceive that problem, not just from that one dimension that the user has projected into the cluster, which is this known dimension, but actually from more than 1,000 dimensions in the cluster. So the idea is that the clustering process and the clustering algorithm opens up for thousands of additional perspectives that you have not had as an innovator going into solving a specific problem. And that naturally opens up for adjacent opportunities as well as outliers that you're not currently aware of. And that is the essence of how AI on the Valuer platform provides business intelligence for the users on the platform. Just give me a moment here. Yes. So with that modeling out of the way, and I hope it was understandable, I wanted to also touch a little bit further on the difference between big data analytics and AI. So essentially, and you have to excuse the photo here with the Shutterstock format. If you imagine yourself, you're on a shrimp trawler out on the sea. You are naturally going for the shrimps, but you get a lot of stuff up in the nets as you pull the nets up out of the water. So then you're facing a problem, and that problem is to basically filter all of the shrimps out from all of the other fishes that you have pulled up in the net. Now, that can be compared a little bit to big data and analytics in terms of a problem, right? Because big data and analytics gives you the ability to take in large amount of data and then filter that and basically isolate the data points that you need. So in this example with the fishing trawler, that is what the captain of that ship is looking to do. So with AI, it becomes a little more interesting in this actual example, because AI will give you a perspective on other fish that are in the ocean that are actually more interesting than the shrimp that you're currently going for. So this is in fact the difference that I wanted to extract from this example. Now, I am certainly going to do a demo of the Valuer platform, and I just need to stop my screen here and share a new screen. So please bear with me. Yes, so we should be on the Valuer platform now. Very good. So now we just took a brief look on what's happening beneath the helm of the platform, and now we are looking at the front end here. So again, the Valuer platform is created to bridge business professionals with the most exciting of business opportunities that exist in the market. So Valuer is, in fact, a search engine that uses AI to create these bridges. We have 4 different entry points on the platform today. We have the 2 upper ones here. Those are our micro searches, as we call them. Discover companies using specific technologies. This is the semantic search. And discover lookalikes, which is also an AI-based search for finding similar companies based on companies you already know. We have then explore industries and explore technologies, which are our macro entry points on the platform. So if your challenge is that, hey, I want to find something within a specific area, but you're not currently aware about what it is specifically, you can use the macro entry point here and look at an industry perspective or technology perspective. But just to take a quick example here, so the semantic search, so this is basically where you articulate your problem or challenge, if you will. So this is what makes Valuer very much different from other search engines out there and other databases where you can find companies. So I've just pasted in this example of a search string: identify acquisition opportunities working with collaborative robotic solutions for warehouse and assembly lines to improve production output and reduce risks of injuries. So that's quite a meaty injection or input for the platform. Yeah, so now what the Valuer platform does is actually computing this particular search string. It creates a cluster, as we looked at before. It shoots in this particular semantic statement, and it basically creates a vector that lands in the cluster and basically will pull out the most similar and relevant companies that are to this particular search string that the user put in. This is a process that takes a little bit of time because it's real-time computing. So what comes on the screen now is a list of company cards. So these are the companies that are matching the most based on the specific search string that was put in. So the first one here, Impact Robotics, is you can access that one, and you will have like a company card with some information here on this particular company. You can go back to the list again, and the idea is that all of these companies that you find and you believe are interesting, you can add those to your radar. And the radar is something we have out on the left here, which is a little bit similar to Spotify collections, or when Netflix wants to play a movie based on some of the movies that you have already seen, right? So it's a way for the user to store the companies that they have found, as well as getting updated on new companies that could be relevant for this particular challenge or input. So you can add those to the radar. Now, what you can also do is, if we go to the radar and go to this particular radar that is called cultured meat. So this particular radar has been set up by a user that is interested in looking into cultured meat, what's happening in the sector. Now, this particular company, Aleph Farms, as you can see, is now actually with a lot more information. So what has happened here is that the user has asked for an enriched profile on this specific company. And once the user does that, there will be a lot of information gathered and more mining and more analytics being done on this particular company, resulting into these other areas of information points: business model, value proposition, product portfolio, market opportunities, achievements, as well as information on the executive team, and a full breakdown of all of the funding that they have gotten so far. So this is just to say that we provide basic information on all of the companies, and we give the user ability to hone in on the companies and extract even more information when they need to. The last part I just wanted to show, I think, before we conclude the demonstration here, is that we have the industry perspectives as well. So for instance, if you're looking into sustainability and maybe you don't have any clue, you just want to start somewhere, then what we have done here is that we have clustered up all of these sub-industries within what we call sustainability. And what you can do here very quickly is to say, hey, I'm really interested in renewable energy, solar, and Cleantech. And that gives you an immediate view on the companies that play in these specific three sub-industries: Cleantech, renewable energy, and solar. So what you can do now is basically, you can look at the companies here and you can see, hey, there's actually a solar company here, and a renewable company here, and a Cleantech company here. They seem to be positioned fairly close to each other. There seem to be some interesting stuff going on here. And then you can add the profiles. You can go to the profiles and you can check them out and kind of dive deeper into the rabbit hole, as we say. So depending on your use case, you can start from a macro perspective, or you can start from a micro perspective. It depends on where you're currently at. Now, the platform is utilizing a credit system such as, I don't know if you're familiar with Audible, the soundbook app. They also use credits. So the credits are used for enriching information on these companies. So you basically use a credit every time you want to dive deep into a company and get an extreme amount of information, relevant information on this particular company. You can also use the credits essentially for going into our vast library of technologies. And then what you can do is you can request a deep dive on a specific technology, and we will then start harnessing and mining information on this particular technology and build you an overview on that. That will also cost you credit on the platform. All of the searches that you do are going to be captured in the platform. So I don't know if you have that same experience, but if you tend to use Google a lot, it's kind of one-off searches. You search and then you never come back to it again. But the idea is that when you want to build business intelligence and put processes in place around business intelligence, and you're specifically working on solving challenges that are important for your business, you want to make sure that you capture all of the knowledge that you create within your team working with these challenges. So the Valuer platform also offers the search history, and it captures all of the searches you have done. It stores the searches so that they are always available. And so that provides a nice functionality for teams working together on solving specific challenges, as well as if you lose a team member, it's pretty neat to have all of the knowledge stored on the platform. So everything you kind of order on the platform will be available on your orders tab over here. So that's essentially the platform in a nutshell. So let me just go back and stop the screen sharing on this one and share my presentation. Yeah, so that was the demo of the Valuer platform. I hope that was useful and made sense. So just to conclude the presentation here, as we have gathered, AI is a tool to extend humans' capability of perceiving the world and to allow humans to choose the right actions in the given environment that they're in. We can call AI the new generation of business intelligence tools, as they provide an intelligence layer on top of what we have normally perceived as analytics and sorting through a lot of data. Now we have, with AI, an appliance, an application of intelligence that sits on top of that. And Valuer is an AI search engine providing business intelligence on innovation and investment opportunities for business professionals.